I'm Timothy Tosti, and today is book review day. We're talking about this book, Turn the Ship Around, by David Marquet. It's a book about leadership. I read this book a few years back, and I will start by sharing with you what I remember from this book, and then I will tell you about something that I apply since I read this book, something that stuck with me. And as I was coming back to the highlights I made in the book, I recovered some very interesting stuff. So I will share this with you as well, so you get excited and you want to read the book also. And by the end of the video, I will also tell you why I picked up this book in the first place. So here's the pitch. The ship we are talking about is a nuclear submarine, and the author is David Marquet. David Marquet is a former captain from the US Navy. So after many years of service, David Marquet was due to take the command of a submarine, and he had trained for over a year for this specific submarine. Until then, everything was fine. What happened is that his admiral switched him to another submarine. And there were two problems with this. The first problem was that it was not the same submarine that he had trained for. We could think that no big deal, it's still a submarine, it's still nuclear powered, it still has big missiles on it, and it's still a big cylinder with a lot of people in it that has to go underwater. Actually, it seems more complicated than that. The second problem was that it was the USS Santa Fe, and it was famous, but not for good reasons. It had very bad results. There had been many problems on it. It had been, I guess, several times denied the authorization to deploy, and anyone going on that ship wanted to leave as soon as possible. There was an enormous turnover from the crew. The atmosphere on board was a disaster, and so on and so on. It was the worst reputation in the entire Navy. The admiral chose David Marquet on purpose because he had some experience in different types of leadership, not the usual one in the Navy. And he assigned him the mission to deploy the submarine at a certain date. So that means going through hundreds of tests at sea, getting qualifications, certifications, and basically showing that the entire crew and the ship are able to go to a war zone and to fulfill their mission. It was so hopeless that the admiral left actually some liberties, gave some liberties to David Marquet. And that's when he told him, turn the ship around. And so the book tells the story of this switch from a leader-follower type of management, as we can see in the movie Master and Commander with Russell Crowe, to a leader-leader type of management. The main idea I recall from the book is that one: I intend to. It's a shift in the way people operate. So instead of waiting for the superior to tell them what they have to do, anyone in the crew is asked to take ownership and think by themselves and find ways to provide the best solution to their problem, their questions, their requests, or their situation. And it manifests by saying, I intend to. The superior is then there just as a double check, as a security, or as a coach. And he usually approves the proposal by saying, very good. Everyone on board the submarine had to apply it, from the lowest ranking crew member to the second in command. What did this change for me? Well, since I read this book, I'm much more engaged in thinking about the solution I can provide before reaching for someone's approval or advice. In daily life, it's as simple as saying, hey, we planned a drink for Thursday. I suggest we meet at Le Pointu at 6 p.m. That's very basic. At work, as much as possible, when there is the need to take an action, I try to come up with a solution before reaching for someone's advice or approval. For example, instead of asking, what should we do with this? My approach is now more like, here is the situation as I view it. Here is how I think we should deal with it. And here is what I prepared for it. And also, when someone reaches me for an advice or an approval, I'm very interested in knowing what they think about the situation, how they view it, and also what they think could be the answer, the best answer to that situation. Here are a few highlights I recovered as I went back to the book. Are you curious or just questioning as a chief? Eliminating top-down monitoring system. I'll have to get back to this chapter because I think there are many very interesting things in it. Then, think out loud. That's a really great one. And I think I could do an entire video only on that one. Specifying goals, not methods. I like that one as well. Needless to say that turning the ship around was not an easy task, but it happened. The crew and the ship got certified, they even performed extremely well, and they deployed on time. There is a kind of turning point in the situation on board the ship. At one point, the captain arrives in the control room, looks at some data, some control panels, and he thinks that the ship is about to crash on a reef. So he shouts an order to steer the ship in another direction. And to this, the coxswain, the guy steering the ship, answers, "No, sir, you are wrong. We are going in the right direction." So just imagine that we are on board a nuclear submarine from the US Navy and that it's a very hierarchical setting. But still, there is this guy, a very low-ranking crew member, saying to the captain, "No, sir, you are wrong." So of course the captain was shocked. He looked back at his data, at the control panels, and he understands that he was wrong, and that if the coxswain had followed his orders, they would have crashed on a reef. So that's a turning point because it shows that the crew is starting to get it. In French, we say la mayonnaise commence à prendre. I don't remember how I first heard about this book, but there is a reason why I picked it. I was a sailor in the French Navy for about a year. It was not a submarine, but it was a frigate, and it was really a great year. I was fascinated by the discussions I had with some shipmates that had been on submarines. They told me about their missions of sometimes up to 90 days underwater. They told me about having just a few lines of text to communicate with their families every week. They also told me about the fact that they couldn't know where they were on the planet. That was top secret. And they told me about the daily emergency exercises, because they had to be super ready in case anything happens. There is nothing really more complex than a nuclear submarine. So many things can go wrong, and I mean really, really wrong. Now, what do you think? If such a type of leadership can be done on a nuclear submarine, on this highly complex machine and in this highly dangerous environment, then I guess it can be done almost anywhere. I really recommend this book. You'll find the link in the notes below. It's full of practical tips, of concrete situations, and so many things to learn. A book can change your life. I'm sure that resonates with you. Many books had a tremendous impact on my life, and they changed my perspective on so many things. These books are part of who I am now. As my vision and the approach I want to share with you in these videos is fueled by a lot of books I read, enjoyed, and learned from, I want to share with you these insights in future book reviews. So to follow these book reviews and my other videos, please subscribe to my channel. And please leave a comment below with the title of the book that most changed your vision about leadership. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.